evening and welcome along to Robin Elliott tonight. Coming up on the show, I'll be chatting to best-selling author Denise Robinson all about her brand new book, Still Standing. Singer Michelle Baird will be with us in the studio as well, telling us about a very special gig that she'll be appearing at alongside West End musical legend Mike Sterling. But to start things off, singer Tommy Fleming is back out on tour. He comes to the Ulster Hall in Belfast on the 16th of February and the Millennium Forum in Derry on the 17th of February. And here's what happened last time Tommy Fleming joined us in the studio. And is it true you got the big break when Phil Coulter walked into a bar and said, I like him?
That's true actually. It was the Tower Bar in Westport, County Mayo. I was playing with a band called Jarrog, which was the Irish spelling is DEA Father RG for Red. There was two redheads in the band. It was kind of our traditional folk version of Simply Red. And so we decided to phonetically spell it by Jarrog. And we put a father on the O, why I don't know. We were doing gigs all over Mayo and Sligo in the west of Ireland. And I was singing at this festival in Westport in a marquee outside the Tower Bar. And Phil came in, he was working in Castle Bar. And he came in to have a pint and he heard me singing. And it was funny, I was 21? And he invited me along to play with his orchestra in the National Concert Hall in Dublin, in Cork Opera House, wow. All of those great University Concert Hall Limerick, and then on to do Carnegie Hall, Boston Symphony Hall, Massey Hall in San Francisco, all of those amazing venues, which is 30-something years ago. And he opened a huge door for me, massive, massive door for me. There's been a lot of things have happened in those almost 32 years. I was going to say, there must be times when you're sitting there and you go, I can't actually believe that I'm here today, thinking about the car accident. Yeah. You put up a post on your social media recently with the head brace and the neck brace and stuff on. I never did that before, actually. Yeah. I kind of kept this. I've got to a point, I think, Robin, in my life where it's not that I don't care. I have no problem in talking about things anymore. The accident was 24 years ago. And I never really talked about it. I never let anyone see what the results of that accident were. And I found a picture. I was doing a clear out there a few weeks ago. I found a picture of me in the frame, and I don't know where it was taken. And I just put up a post and said, this is what happened. Yeah. And it's funny the reaction I got to it and the amount of people that didn't know that it happened. Well, was there kind of knock-on health effects that still affect you today? Or? But I mean, they're not really. I never call them health effects. I call them just kind of side effects of what happened. Yeah. You know, I've had a couple of operations over the years on my back. I can predict when it's going to rain. You know, I have a few metal plates in my back and in my neck, but I'm walking, I'm healthy, I'm trying to keep fit as much as I can. Well, I saw that 8 o'clock this morning. My phone goes beep beep beep, and you're tagging me in a post, and I'm going, "There's Tommy in the gym at 8 o'clock." Was that just for my benefit this morning, or is that something you do every day? My brother claims that I just get up, I get changed, get into the gym, take the picture, and go back to bed again. So no, I'm an early riser. I'm an early waker. As I get older, I think 4 and 5 hours sleep does me at this stage. You've got the Ulster Hall gig coming up, and also the Millennium Forum in Derry. What can we expect from the gigs this year then? I'm very, very conscious of not doing too much new material because the people don't know it. But you have to educate them slowly with new songs. Yes. Yeah. So I always go back to songs that they remember and that I haven't done in a long time. So like the Isle of Innisfree now is coming back that I haven't sang in 10 years. There's another song that we have done, Open Sky, that I haven't sang in 15 years, wow. 15, 16 years. And they're all kind of, but there's still the old favourites are in there, like Bright Blue Rose, Danny Boy, Roll Back the Clouds, which will always be one of my favourite songs. Because I knew Christy, as you did as well. Christy was a lovely, lovely man. And so all those songs are in there. There's old, there's new, there's one or two little surprises. I tell a lot of stories about my parents, my late parents. They were a huge influence on me, and they shaped an awful lot of who I am and how I do things. I've turned into both of them, I'm convinced. I have, unfortunately I don't have my dad's patience or quiet demeanour. I have my mother's personality, and I look like my father, so I probably have got the best of both of them. And were they musical, were they? My mother was. My mother's family were very musical. My dad's family, the musical on both sides. My father loved poetry. He used to recite poetry all the time. That was his party piece.
Yeah.
Or he was a great storyteller. When we were kids, he would tell amazing stories. And with every kind of fantasy story, there's an element of truth somewhere. So it would be so exaggerated that you'd nearly, it was a fantasy by the time it had finished. So yeah, they both had their own talent. They both had their own way, but they were very, very different people. Very, very different.
Brilliant. Okay, I was thinking the other day about the movie The Quiet Man, and something came into my head. You were with us in Cong for the 60 years of The Quiet Man,
When Maureen O'Hara was there. Yes, I was actually.
Because the film must be 70 years old now.
It is. That was in Ashford in Mayo.
That was the weirdest weekend I've ever spent in my life, but what a weekend. We got to work with Maureen O'Hara.
Maureen O'Hara, I was sitting down with her for ages, and it was very funny. Twice this has happened to me. Once with Miriam Margulies and once with Maureen O'Hara. And I sat down beside Maureen O'Hara and said, "Oh, it's so great to meet you." And she's looking at me. She just kept looking at me. And I was talking for about 10 minutes, and she eventually goes, "Who are you?" I can't tell you the story about Miriam Margulies because the language in it was way too much.
Yes.
That happened in Australia with Elaine Page.
Wow.
And I walked into the dressing room and Elaine was there, and Miriam Margulies. And I said, "Oh my God, I'm a huge fan of yours," and I'm chatting away, just assuming she knew who I was. And she turned around to me, she looks at me very, very condescendingly, and she goes, "Who the F are you? And what's more to the point, what the F are you doing in this dressing room?"
So Tommy, we can catch you at the Ulster Hall here in Belfast on the 16th of February and the Millennium Forum in Derry on the 17th of February.
But yeah, looking forward to it, Robin, and it's always a pleasure.
We look forward to seeing you back in Belfast again, and we look forward to seeing you sitting there this time next year as
Please
well.
God. Yeah, please God.
Let's hope so.
Thanks a million for having me as always.
Good to see you, Tommy.
You too.
Thank you.
Goodbye, my old friend. Your troubles are now over. Rest your weary bones. There's nothing left to do. Farewell, my old companion. You will be remembered. And as you leave this world, I thought the world of you. All that was in your heart, you carried on your shoulders. The mark of your old hand is embedded in the past. Let go of it all. No more tears or laughter. You're ready for the road that takes you home at last. Goodbye, my old friend. Don't be afraid, I'm with you. I'll guide you to the light. Your restless spirit free, and parting holds such pain. There may be no tomorrow. The dreams inside your heart will all come true for me. Goodbye, my old friend. I have to let you go now. gentle breeze that light upon my way. I know you won't be far. You're that angel on my shoulder. So goodbye, my old friend. We'll meet again someday. Goodbye, my old friend. We'll meet again someday.
My next guest on the show this evening is a best-selling author. She just released this. It's called Still Standing. It's already topped the Amazon charts, and it's been described as a memoir of love, loss and renewed hope. She's also just released a brand new podcast as well, and I'm pleased to say that Denise Robinson joins us in the studio. How are you?
Great, Robin. Thank you so much for having me.
Good to see you. So let's talk about the book, because already, I mean, it's been getting great reviews, and I know it's been helping a lot of people, hasn't it?
Yes, well, I kind of moved to Dublin 6 years ago from Northern Ireland, and I always wanted to write a book, and I was always, my mum used to say, Denise, you should really write a book about your life, because nobody would believe what happened to you. And I said, really, do you think? But then timing, it's all about timing in life, and the timing was right. And I started in January 2022. On the 5th of January, I had it edited and published by the end of June. So yeah, it topped Amazon in a certain category for emotional and help and so forth, and which I was delighted about. And I've sold a lot of copies. It's in a couple of shops in Dublin, and also available mostly on Amazon. So yeah, I feel cathartic for doing it. I feel like I released a lot. But when I started, I couldn't stop writing. Yeah. I just was write. My friends were like, "You coming out tonight?" No, I'm doing the book. I was like, I had to get it done. And I'm kind of like that. I'm like a dog with a bone. When I start something, I have to finish it. So yeah, I'm delighted I did write it. I was a little bit nervous releasing it because, of course, it's a personal journey. But I do believe it's helped lots of people, and I want it to help many more. Because we do get stuck in this fear of moving forward after you come out of a marriage or a relationship or anything like that's traumatic that happens in life, and you're held back by your own fear. So I want to help people that you can move forward.
There is a lot of traumatic stuff in the book, but it's not all doom and gloom. I mean, it's written with humour as well, isn't
Totally, yeah, because I've had a great life. Like, don't get me wrong, I've had a wonderful fun, travelled the world, so it's not all doom and gloom. And I talk about my ex-partners in the fun that we had as well. And I'm not here to talk about people in a bad way. It's just my own journey, my own life's journey. And you meet people in life for lessons, and you learn from everyone that you meet. And that's what I want to kind of put out there. Okay, things don't work out, but it's how you pick yourself up and move forward.
So it goes right back to your childhood, growing up in Belfast during the Troubles, and your relationship with your parents. Now, you had this lovely relationship with your dad, but things weren't that great with your mum, were they?
No, my mum's a great woman, and she showed us love in the only way she could show love. But unfortunately, my mum had her own stuff, and she's in a home now with dementia. And I do love her greatly, but she was very controlling and I suppose emotionally abusive. But at the time, you don't know these things, and it wasn't until I split with my second husband, that I went to get therapy, and the therapist said, now let's just talk about the relationship with your mother. And I was like, why is she talking about my mother? Like, this has nothing to do with how I'm heartbroken, but it was everything to do with the men that I was attracted to. And unfortunately, I still made another mistake after that, but I've learned now, and I'm single, and I'm happy on my own. The right man will find me at the right time, but it will be an emotionally available person, whereas I was attracted to these emotionally unavailable people.
Things go really bad at some points as well. I mean, at one stage you did consider suicide, didn't you?
Oh, quite a few times, yeah. I went through a lot because my father was diagnosed with cancer, and the partner that I was with for 6 years, he left me the day, more or less, that my father was diagnosed. And then there was that, losing him. I was with him for 6 years. My dad dying, I was taking him for chemo. And then my house subsided, and I lost a lot of equity on that. So I was at an all-time low, and I just thought, what, I can't get through this. So I understand depression, and I really want to help people who do feel there is no, I mean, I went to Tanzania and did some work in Tanzania on mental health. We're a charity here in Northern Ireland, and suicide prevention, because there's just that fine line where you think, no, it's not going to get any better. And I'm so glad I didn't make that mistake, because I have had a great 6 years in the last 6 years in Dublin. And like, changed as a person so much. Like, I hardly recognise myself now. You know, I'm so much, I love myself, which I didn't understand at the time that I really didn't love myself back then.
But even going through your time in Belfast, I mean, you were pretty successful. I mean,
Yeah.
there's me and you both in the same
Yeah,
college in
yeah.
Boston
Campbell,
for years
yeah.
as well. So you had
I
a
know.
successful career as a cover girl, as a model as well, didn't you?
It was great, and I remember in my first relationship, like my partner from when I was only 16, he was like, "You're not starting all that modelling," because of course he was jealous and insecure, and we were young. But I said, no, my determination. I said, no, I want to do modelling. I want to do London Motor Show, and I want to do, and it was brilliant. Like, that gave me a bit of confidence, but deep inside I still had those little issues. So, but the modelling was brilliant, yeah. And I did have my own business in the north, and I had a great business here in Belfast. Unfortunately then, with the relationship breakdown, my father, that went to the side. But I'm working now in Dublin and doing really well. So
why Dublin? Why make the move to Dublin?
I've always loved Dublin. My cousins live in Dublin, and kids, we grew up, we would spend weekends in Dublin. I socialised a lot in Dublin. I just was always drawn to it. I don't know, I just loved it. And I always said I'd love to live in Dublin, but I could never afford to live in Dublin. Even though I had a great life in Northern Ireland, was probably at that stage earning quite a lot of money, I thought, no, who could afford to live in Dublin? Like, it is extremely expensive, but it is a great city. It's cosmopolitan, you meet so many people. It's just, there's so many more opportunities. But I will say I love Belfast, and I love my roots, don't get me wrong. And I come up to see my mum and my friends. I've got a lot of really good friends here. But I love living down there, you know, and I just do. It's just given me this new... I never forget the day I moved to, I live in Dunleary, and I rented this little apartment with my dog. Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm close to Dalkey, and I walk along the coast of Dalkey, and my little dog died sadly last July, but she was my partner in crime and came with me. And to be honest, the first day I moved into that little apartment, much smaller than the house I had in Belfast, but it had a lot of character, and it was right beside the pier, and Zara and I walked the pier, and I remember saying, I could pinch myself, I'm so happy. But going from someone who had a really great lifestyle and nice house, to this little place, and I really had nothing then, and I thought, I was happy. Yeah. You know, so sometimes we have to really check in and look at ourselves and say, right, okay, what is it that we feel is making us happy? Is it material things? And sometimes the material things block what's really the unhappiness is within.
Well, I'm thinking now, there's maybe somebody watching this now who's been through similar experiences as you've gone through, maybe around the same age as well. They've been in Belfast all their life, and they're thinking, at the age that I am now, I could never start again. I can't just pick up everything, and I can't just move and begin again. But you're living proof that you actually can do that. But what advice would you give to those people who've got that idea in their head?
Well, that's what I wanted to say, because I moved to Dublin at 48, and my friends in Belfast were like, oh my God, you're so brave, you're so brave. And I said, I'm not brave at all. This is great. I can't wait. I said, if I don't go, I might succeed in not being here. So my advice would be to really value yourself and say, this is what I say, the world, you're only on this earth for a very short time. It's a big world out there. There's loads of people to meet. One man or one woman who's hurt you, you should not let them ruin the rest of your life. And I'm living proof that I did not allow those people to ruin the rest of my life. And I went to Dublin. I have thrived in Dublin. I opened a social media platform the first few weeks I moved to talk about single life and how you can restart your life. I was on First Dates Ireland. I also started, I was asked to host and be the front face for the biggest Guinness World Record speed dating event.
Your record?
Yeah, we broke the record. Yeah, and that was only a year after I moved to Dublin, so that kind of gave me a little bit of exposure. And then I just love social media, and I love helping people, and I love inspiring others and saying, okay, well, listen, look at me, I'm out having a good time, my age in Dublin City, going to a nightclub. I'm never too old to do anything. So, and no one's too old to do anything in this world. People use it as an excuse.
First Dates Ireland, what was that like?
Okay, it was brilliant, and I've been watching it this week, and I'm like, I think they've really got it together now, because they're matching people, I think, better. They matched me with the guy. He was a lovely guy and all that, but like, I didn't really go on it to find love. I went on it for the crack, really, and the experience, and I loved it. But I was like, I moved to Dublin on the 3rd of January, and it was aired on the 16th. And when I filmed it in the September, I had no idea I was going to be moving to Dublin. That's how quick the move happened. But I was sitting with my friends, like, a bit nervous, thinking, oh my gosh, what's it going to be like? But it was brilliant. It was great. Great fun. I really loved it.
We're approaching Valentine's Day. A lot of people will be thinking, I'm going to be alone on Valentine's Day. They're thinking about love, thinking about relationships and stuff. What about dating apps? Because you're not a big fan of those.
Not a fan at all of dating apps. And I have to say, on the other side, I've met some people on it that became good friends. But I feel it's it's just an area where it breeds a lot of strange people, let's say, who are really not definitely emotionally available. And you've got all areas. You've got people who are married, who are chancing their arm. You've got a wide variety. But I think when I listened to First Dates Ireland the other day, this girl who was gorgeous from Armagh actually was on it, and she was beautiful. She was only 27, and she said, I just hate dating now. Dating has changed so much. So if she's saying that, when I say it, I actually feel that's okay.
There's all the dangers out there as well, because you can pretend to be somebody that you're not on there. You can change your photographs.
Yeah,
you can do everything.
well, I've had that happen to me. But I mean,
What's been the worst experience?
oh gosh, I don't know. There's that many, but I mean, one was the worst one, which is in my book actually, where a guy met me and walked out and left me with the bill because I wouldn't go back to his house. Basically, that's it summed up. Yeah, but there's been people who've been chatting to me, and they're not the person that they are. No, it's shocking. It's quite shocking, and it's a lot of waste of time. Whereas I'm a busy person, right? Yeah. I've got a very busy job in the pharmaceutical packaging, so I travel all around Ireland. I'm promoting my book, I'm promoting my podcast now, and I just feel I don't have time to be sitting talking to, excuse the pun, but weirdos that aren't who they are. You know, I'd far rather some lovely man see me and say, "Would you like to go out for dinner?" Do you know, that's what I would prefer.
Does that still happen?
No.
Can you walk into a bar and some guy will say, "Can I buy you a wee drink?"
Yeah, not really. I can't remember the last time it happened to me, but it does happen to me through my social media. I did meet a guy who was following me, sent me the odd message. I get a lot of messages on it, and some might just go, I'm always polite. But then this guy met me at the Dublin Horse Show, and he approached me, and he said, Denise, I follow you. And I went, oh yeah, that's right, yeah. And he was lovely. So I dated him for 6 months, but again, emotionally unavailable. So I could see that, and I jumped out of it. But good guy, good fun, but not for me. So that would, I guess that's still a dating app. I think people are calling Facebook now, like Facebook and Instagram are nearly like a dating app now. Yes, people hit on people on it through it, so it's the same kind of thing. But no, very rarely do I meet people naturally, and I would much prefer the natural way.
Tell us about the podcast, because we've got the first episode out at the moment. It's called Enough is Enough.
Enough is Enough. Well, Enough is Enough. I always wanted to do a podcast, and I thought after the book, my editor said, Denise, a podcast would be great to go along with the book. And I thought, yeah, do you know what? That's a good idea. So I thought, when is enough enough in your life? It could be weight, it could be relationship, it could be work, it could be anything. For me, enough was enough my life in Northern Ireland. Not Northern Ireland, I want to add, just my personal life. And I thought I needed to get away. So Dublin was close enough so I could still pop up and down and see my mum and friends. So I just thought enough was enough. So I have a few great guests coming up, Karen McShane being one.
Lovely.
Yeah, you know, where
that's got a great story to tell.
Great story to tell. An amazing person, and I love her. And I just feel that, you know, her story, if she can do what she went through, anybody can do anything. If I can move to Dublin, start again at the age of 48 with nothing, anybody can do it. I have Mark Robson on the 10th of February. Mark's great guy. Great.
He does the best Jackie Fullerton impression.
Oh, yeah, he does, yeah. He's great, and he's a really interesting story. Yeah. Apart from his 40 years of being a sports presenter, so he's on the 10th of February. So it's on all platforms. Enough is Enough by Denise Robinson, and it's available on Spotify and everything. So it's going quite well, and you know, I love it. I actually love doing it. So, and I think if you love what you do, like yourself, Robin, you know, it'll just come naturally.
Still Standing is out now. Where can we get this from?
Amazon. Just go on to Amazon. You can get it on Kindle, and you can get a hardback or paperback, and I'm going to do as well on Audible. I said to, I record my podcast in the podcast studio, and I said to them the other day, I'd love to do an Audible, because a lot of people are asking about Audible, and I feel that Audible, with my voice being obviously from Northern Ireland, and it read in my own voice, I feel might be good, I don't know, so I'm going to try and do that.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
It's been lovely seeing you.
Thank you, lovely. Yeah, it's lovely to be here. Thank you, Robin.
Time to talk musical theatre now, and a show called A Night with the Phantom that's coming to the theatre at the Mill at Newton Abbey, and also the Riverside Theatre in Coleraine. It stars Mike Sterling, who actually played the Phantom of the Opera in London's West End. Michelle Baird is also on the bill, and she joins us now. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And you?
I'm very well, thank you. So tell us about this show, and for people who don't know, who is Mike Sterling?
Mike, he's just phenomenal, and I know I'm biased, but when I heard him sing for the first time, I was totally blown away. Mike has played the Phantom of the Opera more than 1,000 times, he tells me. He also played the part of Raoul first, before becoming the Phantom. He's been Jean Valjean in Les Mis, Perron and Evita, the list goes on.
So this is going to be a fabulous chance to see a true West End superstar up close here in Northern Ireland.
Absolutely, absolutely. And his personality as well, he's so brilliant at engaging with the audience and getting them to come on the musical journey with him. So I'm really excited.
So you're on the bill as well. And I know you're a fabulous singer. You've been on the circuit for a long time
very kind.
as well. And when you're performing with somebody like Mike Sterling, I mean, Phantom of the Opera, for you, there's only one duet. And I hope you've asked him, can you do it? And that's all I ask of you.
Yes, well, I'll tell you a story. When we did this show actually as a trial at the Riverside last April, and I only got one rehearsal with him on the day, so I was quite nervous, but I was standing in the wings at the rehearsal and the dry ice had started and the overture to the Phantom theme started, and he's beside me going, I am your angel of music. And I just felt completely overwhelmed. So I got to sing the main Phantom theme, managing to hit the notes to my shock. And then when we were singing All I Ask of You at the rehearsal, I was so past myself, I burst into tears with emotion. It was like, I'm singing one of my favourite duets with someone who actually played Raoul and the Phantom, so it was a very surreal moment for me, I have to say.
And of course, over the years, you've appeared in many musicals yourself. In fact, the Riverside Theatre on Coleraine is going to take you right back to the start of your career, isn't it?
Yes, when I was a student, I'll not tell you when, at the tender age of 19, I joined the Music Society, Portrush Music Society, and many of those lovely people I'm still good friends with. And I played the role of Reno Sweeney in Anything Goes way back, and that was just such a wonderful experience and got me totally hooked in the world of musical theatre after that and singing.
And since then you did loads more. Tell us about some of the fabulous roles you've played then.
I have. I've played Mabel in Pirates of Penzance twice. And our show actually won the Buxton International Festival when we did it, and I got the Ames Award for that. Anna Glavari, the Merry Widow, very glamorous role in the Opera House. That has to be one of my favourites. And then I also did Sarah in Guys and Dolls, where I met my now husband way back in early 2000s. Little did we know at the time we'd end up married with a child all those years ago, but there you go.
And of course, we've seen him recently in Blue Lights, haven't we?
Yes, he's just finished filming season 2, and he's definitely in season 3 and hopefully in more seasons after that, so he's doing really well.
So you've got 2 performers in the family as well, and then of course the 2 of you have decided, let's go out and do our own show together as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
Soda Pops.
We formed our 1950s rock and roll band, the Soda Pops, quite a while ago, and we've had some wonderful experiences with that. So I'm up at the Riverside with that show as well. So it's very exciting.
Tell us more about A Night with the Phantom then. What can we expect from you on the night?
The Phantom show, of course, it features a lot of musicals. Of course, it features songs from Les Mis and Phantom of the Opera, but there's also some classical crossover in there. There's a bit of Mamma Mia, there's a bit of We Will Rock You, there's some sing-along with the audience. So yeah, it's a really nice opportunity for me as well to not only sing duets with Mike, but also to sing songs that mean something to me as well.
So if I had to push you for your favourite musical of all time, what would it be?
It is Phantom of the Opera. I have to say it is, yeah.
Brilliant. So you're in Theatre at the Mill on the 17th of February, I believe?
17th, and tickets are going really well. We're delighted. So if people want to book, then I would urge them to book very soon. And then we're in the Riverside on the 24th.
Fabulous gigs to look forward to. The very best of luck with the show.
Thank you so much.
And Michelle, good to see you as always.
Good to see you too. Thank you.
Red Dress Fun Run this year because my brother died from a cardiac arrest. I wanted to do something to mark and to pay tribute to him and to hopefully raise funds.